Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Well, good, Mike. We call the meeting of the Liberty County Board of Commissioners to order. Good to see everyone. Good to see those who are on the agenda, and we have some special guests also in the house with us today. It's good to see you. And young people, when I say special guests, my adults don't mind. I'm talking about you today. Yeah. So you're our special guest. Good to have you here from the Riceboro Summer Youth Program. Mr. Brown, has the meeting been properly advertised?
Yes, sir, did.
Thank you. Young people at our meetings, Makia, have they been to a Riceboro City Council meeting? Yeah. Well, our meetings run similar to those. So you'll find a lot of similarities here between the different governmental bodies. Not exactly, but similarities. So thank you for being here. Let us stand. We ask Mr. Mosley to come and do our prayer and our pledge. Yeah. I said, let me do this. Makia? No. You stay. Will one of your young people lead us in the pledge? Okay. After the prayer, then we do the pledge, okay? Stand right there with that handsome gentleman right there. Okay? You do the prayer first. Okay?
All right, let's everybody bow their heads. Gracious and kind Father, we thank you for this beautiful day and your bountiful blessings. We ask that you would be with this deliberate body, stay engaged in the business of this community. We pray that you give them insight and divine wisdom, Father God, to stay engaged in your people's business. And Father God, we pray that you watch over them and cover them. Pray that your blood would cover them. These and all the other blessings we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Say your name for the record, please, ma'am, and then do the pledge.
Jasper Lewis.
Say it again.
Jasper Lewis.
Jasper Lewis. Got it, okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll allow for company to do that. Thank you. And what happens is now your name is recorded in the county's minutes. So 50 years from now, someone go back and look at that county minute, they'll read your name, that you were here and you led us in the pledge. So young people, don't ever pass up an opportunity. You never know what could be the result of it. You never know. Thank you. All right. Proclamation of Gullah Geechee Nation Appreciation Week.
Yes, sir, this is the annual proclamation that's usually considered for that purpose. And it reads, Proclamation, Gullah Geechee Nation Appreciation Week. Whereas the Gullah Geechee people are descendants of captive Africans from several ethnicities in Central and West Africa, brought to the coastal areas of South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. And whereas from their unique language and delicious dishes to the cultural creativity and arts, crafts, and music, the Gullah Geechee people have had a positive influence on their lives. And whereas the Gullah Geechee Cultural Heritage Corridor was established by Congress to preserve the history, traditional culture, and rich heritage of the Gullah Geechee people. And whereas Gullah Geechee, taking a stand and healing the land, is the theme for this year's celebration of Gullah Geechee Nation Appreciation Week. And whereas increasing awareness and understanding of Gullah Geechee culture leads to a deeper appreciation for the significant contributions of Gullah Geechee people to our state and nation. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Donald L. Lovett, Chairman of the Liberty County Commission, does hereby proclaim the week of July 29th, August 5th, 2023 as Gullah Geechee Nation Appreciation Week, and call upon all our citizens to celebrate with the citizens of Gullah Geechee Nation under the theme of Gullah Geechee taking a stand and healing the land, dated this 20th day of June, 2024.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. You know, sometimes Queen Chet comes, but she gave us the opportunity to sign this because she's trying to make her rounds around all of the Gullah Geechee corridor. So
We will mail that to her. They asked that it be sent to them, so she couldn't make it.
okay, thank you, sir.
Like she said, she would always say, Mr. Chairman, I thank you very much, but I cannot make it today. Thank
You
you.
got to try to get your dialect on. Okay. All right. Once again, we do have special guests from the Riceboro Summer Youth Program. I'm going to put it in the hands of Ms. Makia Frazier. You just come tell us about your group and present them in your own way.
Good evening, everybody. I am Makia Frazier, the director of the Riceboro Summer Youth Program, and I also have with me Ms. Brenda Addy, who is the assistant director. And today we are proud to bring our Riceboro Summer Youth Program students, please stand, We have 18 students from the city of Riceboro and some from the city of Hinesville that are working, gaining job experience around the county, not only in Riceboro, but also in Midway and Hinesville. So we're bringing them around to see how their local government works. So hopefully one day some of them will be in the places that you are. So we're just happy to have them here today and happy to be here with you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Give them a hand, young people. Sometimes we feel we're about ready to hand the baton, guys, so. So listen, thank you for coming, thank you for coming. All right, Department Reports, Finance, Ms. Richardson.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Tonight I have a couple things on the agenda. The first is a few budget resolutions for fiscal year 2025. I have provided each of you with a copy of the resolutions for your review, and attached to each is a summary of the proposed revenues and expenditures for FY25. This is for the special revenue funds of the county, the capital projects funds, and also I have included another copy of the general fund proposed budget. We had to make just some minor changes to the wording to comply with state law. And now it reads that it's an annual budget, even though it is exactly the amounts that were approved at the last monthly meeting. And that is the 3/12 of our FY24 budget to kind of get us through 90 days. But we reworded the resolution just to comply with state law to read as an annual budget. If you guys want to take a look at those, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have on anything. Regarding the special revenue funds and the capital projects funds, this is certainly just a preliminary estimate of what we think we will receive and expend for FY25. It's kind of like our starting point. But, you know, at this point, it's kind of unknown how much SPLOST dollars and T-SPLOST dollars we will receive, but we have a general estimate, and same with the grant funds, how much exactly we will receive in, but we have a general idea just based on our current year budget, and then tweak just slightly for some known things.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Brown and Samantha, since the last meeting when we made the choice to delay it, have y'all seen any additional revenue coming in since then that would have made a big difference in the budget?
No, sir.
You haven't seen no difference, okay. And one other question, since we're talking about budget. A meeting back, I asked a question about this audit that was asked. And I think I asked the question, how was it going to be paid for? Was it going to be added to the 23-24 budget or 24-25 budget? And what account was it going to come out? And do we have an amount on that budget? I mean, on that cost to have the audit done?
So it'll come out of the 25 budget is what it'll come out of, because it's expected to be completed the first couple of weeks in July.
Yes.
So that's when it will actually be complete, the work will be performed. And Samantha, if you don't have that number, I can get it. Do you remember the number?
Estimate for the
Yes,
cost?
yes.
We received the engagement letter last week, and it's approximately $5,000, or not to exceed $5,000. And it's my understanding that that will come out of finance's budget, the audit line item.
Okay. Okay. All right. Any other questions for Ms. Richardson?
Mr. Chair, so basically this proposal right here, this is just a line item saying, so of course, you know where mine's going straight to. So the youth program, so that 10,000 is just to take us over for the summer, for the 90 days?
Just 90 days.
Okay. I could have used $5,000 for the youth department.
And one other question.
Yes,
What
sir.
is this going to do to the fire the training, the new class starting at the fire departments?
Currently, there are no additional firefighters approved for the FY25 budget. Just based on my discussions with the fire chief, these are desperately needed to kind of fully staff the fire station we just opened and to maintain the personnel at the existing fire stations as well.
So to answer your question in another way too, is that the training class is going to be postponed until after you make a decision on the final annual budget, but he has 6 slots that are currently funded and open, and so he's going to go in and try to fund those 6, or find people for those 6 slots. Yes, sir. He doesn't anticipate any big delay in that.
All right.
So once this, Mr. Chairman, this one is approved, because this is for the 90 days, then we will come back and approve the one for the next 9 months,
You'll come back and actually do an amended annual budget.
amended for the annual. These numbers that you've given us today are for 90 days
The 90
forward.
days, yes, ma'am. July 1st through September 30th.
Samantha, excuse me. George, we had anything on the digest?
You mentioned to me, we haven't seen anything yet. I think the indication from the tax assessor's office is that we may see something by the first part of July, once the appeals have run through, or that some of the appeals have run through. I think the caveat was all of them won't have been completed. So, short answer to your question, we hope to see it sometime in early July.
Well, I mean, that was one reason why I wanted to hold off and see what this digest was going to be. And I appreciate it, Samantha.
Yes, sir.
I heard you. All right, so we have before us, Samantha, 3 different resolutions.
Yes.
Present them to us in whatever order you want to present them to us, young
Okay.
lady.
Yes, sir. The first is the special revenue funds. Whereas the administrative staff of Liberty County has prepared and submitted to the governing authority of Liberty County all special revenue operational budgets to include American Rescue Plan, E911, victim witness, jail construction and staffing, multiple grants, confiscated assets, the Records Service Center, law library, technology, drug abuse and education, juvenile services, hotel motel tax, child support recovery, jail commissary, opioid settlement, and the Liberty County Projects Corporation, and for the year beginning July 1st, 2024, and ending June 30th, 2025. And whereas the Board of Commissioners of Liberty County has studied and reviewed the prepared budgets, it is considered in the best interest of Liberty County Board of Commissioners to adopt these budgets. Therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners of Liberty County that the budgets attached hereto and made part of hereof for the year beginning July 1st, 2024, and ending June 30th, 2025 is approved.
Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion we approve the resolution as presented for the special revenue operational budget.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second? Motion on the second. We approve the proposed budget for the special revenue funds. Any further discussion?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
what is the jail commissary?
Food.
And that's where the inmates buy stuff?
Yes, sir.
And
It
that's
is.
before taxes or after taxes?
I don't think
that
there's
tax?
taxes on that, correct?
I mean, if you buy something, or, I know if you have a Coke machine, and it's in your building, that you sometimes have to pay a sales tax on that.
Well, I think, and you help me if I go wrong, I think that is actually from Jail Construction and Staffing Act funds.
There's two. There's a
Correct, there's two.
commissary and then the construction and
And that,
staffing.
but we're talking strictly, I mean, I guess the derivative of the proceeds, though, is not just from concessions out of that fund, is my point.
What I was wondering
Commissary
is it,
fund, so to speak.
as far as feeding inmates, it's done by, they provide meals out there, right?
They
Yes.
do.
I wonder, is that what they're calling their commissary? or-
No, sir, no, sir,
Oh,
not at all.
okay.
No, sir, not.
That's all I wanted to know then. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? All in favor of the resolution? Show of hands, please. Resolution is approved for special revenue funds. Next, please.
Okay, yes, sir. Next is the capital projects funds.
Who's the title?
Whereas the administrative staff of Liberty County has prepared and submitted to the governing authority of Liberty County SPLOST, Special Purpose Local Option Sales Tax Budgets, T-SPLOST, Transportation Special Purpose Local Option Sales Tax Budgets, and the Wright Army Airfield Fund Budget for the year beginning July 1st, 2024, and ending June 30th, 2025. And whereas the Board of Commissioners of Liberty County has studied and reviewed the prepared budgets, it is considered in the best interest of the Liberty County Board of Commissioners to adopt the budget. Therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners of Liberty County, Georgia, that the budget attached hereto and made part of for the year beginning July 1st, 2024, and ending June 30th, 2025, is approved.
Okay. Chair, entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Motion is second. We approve the capital projects fund as presented. Any further discussion? All in favor, show of hands, please. Commissioner Frazier, they got you? Okay.
I'm sorry.
All right. Motion passes. Thank you.
Okay. The third and last resolution is for the general fund budget for FY25, the 90 days, but we have just reworded it. Whereas the administrative staff of Liberty County has prepared and submitted to the governing authority of Liberty County an annual general operations budget for the year beginning July 1st, 2024, and ending June 30th, 2025. And whereas the Board of Commissioners of Liberty County has studied and reviewed the prepared budget, it is considered in the best interest of the Liberty County Board of Commissioners to adopt the budget. Therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners of Liberty County, Georgia, that the annual budget attached hereto and made part of hereof for the period beginning July 1st, 2024, and ending June 30th, 2025 is approved.
Chair, entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second. Motion is second. We approve the general fund revenue proposed budget. Any further discussion? All in favor by show of hands, please. Motion passes unanimous. Thank you, Mr. Samantha. Now, you will need our signatures tonight before we,
Not necessarily, but I will have that.
okay. All right. Monthly report.
Yes, sir. The second item that finance is reporting on is the April 2024 financial statements. As of the end of April, we have collected approximately 92% of our budgeted revenues for general fund. And this does include property tax collections of around 97% of our budget. Also, just something little to point out, but we have made approximately $300,000 in interest revenue for the year. Most of this wasn't budgeted for, but we took some opportunity to make some investments and to make some extra revenue for the general fund. Through April, we have spent approximately 82% of our budgeted expenditures. We currently show 5.6 months of operating expenditures in our unreserved fund balance. This is down from our previous April last year of 7.8 months. The decrease is due to a variety of factors, but the most significant include this time last year we had more cash on hand as we had approximately $8 million left to spend out of our 2022 bond proceeds. Currently, we have approximately $600,000 left to spend on those. Additionally, our monthly average of expenditures is increasing. As our budget increases, so does our monthly average, which in turn decreases this number of the fund balance months. Looking at the year-to-date expenditures in the general fund, there are a handful of departments that are currently a little ahead of schedule through the end of April. And once we complete the June report, we can see how everything looks and come back to you all with a final proposed budget amendment, if needed, to smooth over some of the overages and also to get us ready for our financial audit. Most of the departments that are showing an unfavorable budget variance for April are ones I've mentioned previously. And I'll just highlight some of the more significant ones. For elections, the technical services expenditures are causing this department to show this unfavorable variance due to costs associated with the municipal elections. However, I would like to point out that the county was able to bill more than we budgeted for in revenues to the cities for their elections. So hopefully this should wash itself out for the year. Risk management is currently showing over budget due to the one-time annual contribution for our pension to ACCG that's made in January. We do not anticipate this department going over budget. Judicial administration is running a little ahead of schedule due to payments made to our court reporters. This just varies with our court sessions, and we do not anticipate this department to go over for the year. District's Attorney's Office, they purchased some books early in the months of the current fiscal year, causing them to run a little ahead of schedule, but also we don't anticipate them to go over for the year. Animal Services is showing an unfavorable variance for April due to increased costs for electricity and animal food supplies for the year. And we'll continue to monitor this one. The maintenance shop is running ahead of schedule compared to the estimate we derived when we proposed this budget for the annual cost. However, we are still under the target rate that they include in their contract. And lastly, other financing uses. These are the drawdowns on the 2022 series bonds for the current fiscal year. These are primarily related to Miller Park Fire Station. This is funded by the cash we received in bond proceeds in a previous fiscal year. And as I mentioned a second ago, we have approximately left $600,000 in cash that will cover the remaining contract balance and the landscaping at the new fire station. Turning the page to solid waste. Solid Waste Department has net income through April of $515,000. We have collected approximately 88% of our budgeted revenues for the year and spent approximately 78% of our budgeted expenditures. There are currently no departments in the solid waste fund that are currently exceeding budget. Also, I know that there were a couple of questions last month about the solid waste fund, and I wanted to provide you with some current data. I ran a report through today, and currently we have collected $4.18 million in total solid waste revenues, which is about 95% of our budget. Additionally, our total expenditures through today is $3.9 million, which is about 90% of our budget. So we are on track to break even for the solid waste fund this year. Turning the page, our special revenue funds.
You
Yes,
said
sir.
break even.
Yes, sir.
Come out, Mr. Chair. Mr. Smiley.
Yes, sir.
On election
Yes.
and solid waste,
Okay.
all of the cities and municipalities, are they paid up monies due to Liberty County Board of Commissioners?
No, sir.
Oh, I could answer that for you.
But I want, you're not the finance person.
No, sir.
It is a sacred finance.
How long has this been, is it going, do you see an ending coming to it, or is it going to be dragged out?
I'm not sure on the solid waste, for the elections, I know we had a meeting recently with the city of Hinesville to kind of discuss how we came up with our figures, and we've been providing additional information as they request it. So hopefully, we can come to agreement on and receive payment for that. For the solid waste,
Solid waste, they've been making progress on their payments, but have not caught up yet.
yes.
Okay.
That's all the cities? Or is that just,
That's all the cities. I I mean, well, basically, we have one account that's behind.
Right.
Could you send us the whole board if they wish, the amount that they are in the arrear on?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
And we're constantly working with the one municipal government has asked us to be patient with them, so we're constantly in communication. They have improved,
Yes.
you know, so, but it's still not caught up, but they have improved, so. And we want to continue to work with them there. But as far as elections now, pretty much when the election's held, and I know with the city of Hinesville, now, Joe, remind me, that's a new that's an old contract terms that we're reviewing, or is that a new contract?
Actually, no, sir, actually, the contract hadn't changed.
Okay.
It was the same one that was approved for all the entities, and we have
Okay.
3 entities that we've billed for election reimbursements. I'm not sure about the other 2 and whether they have made payment actually on the invoice or not, but.
Yeah.
So we have 3 that are outstanding for
Okay.
the election results.
Okay. All right. But I'm trying to remember, though, those that have held recent elections.
Yes.
Now, so what would be the turnaround time on payments for those? I mean, I wouldn't be election one day and check the next day, I know that.
Well, these were for the elections that were actually held.
November and
of
December.
last year.
Okay, okay,
That we're just sending out the bills for.
okay,
And so they're,
Okay.
you know, they're.
Okay.
Hopefully that payment will be.
okay, all right. So we just billed them?
We did, it had to go through the elections board and get approved. and-
Gotcha, okay. It's a process.
Yes, sir.
All right, okay.
Chairman.
Yes, sir.
And Samantha, the judicial administration and the Superior Court, what have we got to look forward to the year coming, Joey, as far as we're adding a judge, which means we're gonna have to be a part of that, but do you have any idea what that part will be?
Yes, sir, that is part of that proposed budget
Yeah,
This one,
for the 25.
yeah, we have that.
okay,
We have that. All
I
right,
know we talked about it, but
yeah, we had that. Now, for my young people, I know it's a lot of stuff like, man, they're talking about numbers. You feel like you're back at Bradwell or Liberty. But the county, just like your homes run, your parents have to pay, what kind of bills do your parents pay once a month? Give me an idea. What, light bill, very good. What else? Water bill, okay?
How about that internet? I thought that would be the first one called out. You can't
Good
live
job,
without
you're
internet
listening.
now.
So in the county, we call those line items. One line item would be the water bill, light bill, so on and so forth. All right? So what funds come in to help them pay those bills? Where the funds come from? No? No? At your parents' homes, in your home. So how do they pay their bills based off of their what? Exactly right, exactly right. All right. So with the county, so we have line items too that we talked about, but our funds come by primarily from property taxes. Like if your parents own property, they have to pay property taxes once a year. So we use those funds to pay our light bill, pay our staff and so on. So it works just the same way. So she's giving us a report on where we are with balances so we can monitor that and ensure that everything stays current and we can keep our bills paid so they'll send us the delinquent notice. They can send us a little, disconnect?
Disconnect.
You don't want the county to be disconnected, do you? So it works the same way. Your parents have line items, the county has line items. We're just going over the line items for the county right now. Did I help you out some? All right, I
and
see
you
your
know
head
who
now.
pays these taxes? The same person that pays that light bill
Yep.
and that
That's
cable
right.
bill. Your parents, grandparents.
Now, we do have other funds, fine if I'm gonna Joey say too deep in the weeds. There are some other funds that come and help us out too, but primarily each county, the state of Georgia says counties run primarily off of property taxes. And they heard the news, they said that Bullock County is 65%, so I asked Joey what was ours, and he said ours about the same about income. So we're neck and neck with neighboring counties. All right. All right. Test after the meeting. All right. Ms. Samantha, is that all you have?
Just the SPOS report.
Oh, I'm sorry. SPLOS is when you go buy something, you pay extra penny, and those pennies come to the county, school board too, to help buy things with. All right, so now she's giving us a report on that. And I'll just tell you this, SPLOS has been doing real well, so I'm hoping her report's going to.
Okay, the first report for the sales tax reports is sales tax 6. This is just a recap. We approximately have 6.1 million left to expend for our sales tax 6 projects. Turning the page to sales tax 7, we collected 1,166,000. This is just slightly up from the March 2024. Since this SPLOS began, we have collected 13.1 million and have expended just shy of $6 million. And the last report is T-SPLOS. We collected approximately 1.1 million for the month of April. And since inception of T-SPLOS, we have collected 39.9 million of our anticipated 54 million and have spent approximately 18.7 on our T-SPLOS projects to date. So yes, it was another good month for sales tax. And that completes my presentation for April, unless you have any additional questions.
Okay. Now, for sales tax, where do you guys meet for your meetings? Where do you all meet? Generally, where do you meet? I can't hear. Riceboro Youth Center. Good answer. All right. So guess what? There was a grant fund that built the center, but some of those SPLOS dollars helped to put the air conditioning in and the parking in at the place where you meet. So that's how those dollars get used. Now, have you noticed a nice new building on the way here between Midway and Hinesville? If you come into town on the right-hand side, a nice new building is going up? What, so do you know what that building is? Yeah, no, not the Wawa in town.
Another gas station.
Little further out. That's another whole subject. All right. But we're building a nice new fire station by the Joseph Miller Park. Like what, red and white, right, y'all?
Yeah.
Yeah. So my point is, so SPLOS dollars, when you buy something, an extra penny helps to do things just like that. And when we do it that way, it keeps it from coming from your parents' back pocket. All right? All right. Any question from Ms. Samantha on sales tax? No. It's sales tax, we call it SPLOS. Okay, all right. And I'm getting in the weeds too much. The work they're doing at Liberty High School with the fence or with the new turf, that's from SPLOS, a penny that the school board gets to do projects with. That's how all that works. All right. Get me off my soapbox now.
Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I was looking at the T-SPLOS report, and I think at the last meeting, when we reviewed the finances, Commissioner Stevens graciously looked at my percentage and said that
he did
that because I don't have any unincorporated that, and Commissioner Walden does that. Commissioner Walden that I need to give him a percentage. Yeah. And I always appreciate you, Marion, spending my money like that. And if that's what we need to do, I don't know if we need to make a motion or we just do it, but I'll do it. It ain't no big deal because the cities that that's in my district, they do get a percentage, and you do have some unincorporated. Because I was looking at the same as Commissioner Frazier. I guess if mine was the same as his and yours was the same as Connie's and Marion's, I guess it would be in the interest of fairness and to help Commissioner Stevens continue to monitor my money. No, but I think, Samantha, if you could do that, I think that'd be great.
Yes, sir.
It's 1.39%
Okay.
difference.
Going forward from,
Yeah, just make that change and you can buy a Coke and a smile.
Thank you for your generosity.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Josh. Appreciate it. All right, thank you, Ms. Samantha.
okay, yes, sir.
Samantha, I want to say that I appreciate what you're doing here as far as looking at the obvious and putting some money in toward an interest-bearing account.
That was a good move.
You need to be commended for that. That's something that, of course, me and Joey talked about it, and next thing I knew, it was on there, and I appreciate it. It's,
Thank you. I wish it could be more.
Well, that's a
but
good
it's a
number.
start.
just as long as we just put a little bit in there.
That's a good number.
I try to tell my children that, and they don't pay no attention.
Good number.
Thank
Good
you.
number.
Thank you.
Thank you, Samantha.
All right, now our county engineer's coming to talk to us. He maintains, oversees all of our road projects that we have in the county. So this is his report now on what those look like.
We have a lot of things going on.
Yes, sir.
So I'll try to hit a few things pretty quick. The Miller Park Fire Station. That didn't want to come out right. The contractor did get back out there and fix the asphalt not this week, but last week. Looks a lot better, and I don't think we're holding water anymore. The landscape contractor's out there. He's got the irrigation just about in, and he's supposed to start putting out plants Monday or Tuesday. So hopefully the looks of that will be looking a little bit better. The Claudia Lane water system's finished. We need to look at Mr. Golden's and what we need to do for Mr. Golden at the end, because I didn't see whether or not he had paid back originally or not. But we found that we don't have very far to go to get to his line.
Right, but we also talked about, those blue tubing that was sticking up. Did we go back and bury those?
I think they did.
You know,
I'll be
from
honest with you, I hadn't
Westfield.
ridden out there the last 2 weeks,
Yeah,
so
just-
I'll
just-
double check.
Just a little concerned about.
Yep,
them
the blue
sticking
tube.
up like that, yeah. Let's kind of bury them if we can.
I'll call Sean on the way home tonight.
Okay, good.
All right, Allen's Highway box culvert, we did award, that is an item on the agenda tonight. Y'all did award the contract to Platinum Paving. There was some confusion on the optional items. We've been meeting with the contractor, and if I could defer that discussion until your July 2nd meeting, I would appreciate that. Barrington Ferry Road roundabout, we're coming along with it. So we're getting close to having the concept report finished on that and having a decent layout. I think we're gonna be meeting in the next couple of weeks with the roundabout team in Atlanta to talk about the legs and the options that they wanted me to review. So that way we can kind of be moving forward with the layout that we've got. Your sidewalks are pretty much done. We are gonna have to go through more of the notification problem.
Yeah,
on the-
I was called to the principal's office on that.
Oh, you were?
I was. I know.
Well,
Tell
sorry.
me about it.
I did not mean for it to get you called to the principal's office. But that did happen. So
Right.
I apologize for that.
No problem.
So, but we are moving forward on that.
Thank you.
Water system west of the railroad, we'll talk more about that tonight in executive session. We do have the Liberty Independent Troop pickleball courts ready to go. Try to like to get that out the door for bids as soon as you guys are ready. I'll get with Mr. Brown, make sure he's good with everything, and then we'll put that out. The Limerick Road overlay, still waiting on Atlanta to let us go with that right turn lane. Basically, what's going to end up happening is the flashing light's going to come down, and then we're going to put signs with flashing lights before either end. And so that's what the whole holdup is taking down the flashing light and putting up the beacons on the approach on each side. And I just got to get them to say, okay. So we've been back and forth with them. We think we got it all square. We just waiting on approval. The Islands Highway widening, the State Historic Preservation Office finally came back and said they weren't going to review it because it didn't have a DOT funding with it, so they didn't have a mechanism to pay. But we've done everything according to that, and we're keeping that together. So we are just about finished up with our environmental, enough that we are going to be finalizing our concept report in the next 30 days, and then we'll be moving forward with the design on that very shortly behind it. So we've kind of gone through that year period of looking at all the animals and critters up and down the road. Live Oak Drive. We did get the LMIC funding for that, and we already got the money in hand. So we are going to go ahead and get the design done so that we can make sure that you get real numbers on that one and have that done. Well, Cemetery Road, we're talking about in a minute. And then Mary Todd Road, we got a few things on Mary Todd Road that I need to go over with you to make sure we're good.
Okay.
And I'll get with you on, well,
Mary
Cemetery.
Todd?
Road. Mary Todd.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, wrong word's about to come out again. I apologize. Okay, I think that's all that I really had to put out tonight.
Brett. What about Bill Carter Road?
This grass is still not up. Yes, sir. We talked about that again, actually, 2 weeks ago, and hadn't gotten anything on that. Actually, had the president of Platinum in my office yesterday. So hopefully, we'll get a little bit better action on that.
Are we still holding some of them?
Oh, yes, sir. I've still got far more money than it would take to put the grass on there.
They may have to go dig it out and then haul in some different type soil to get us
I think that's-
grass out there.
I think that's part of the problem is, they got some good structural dirt in there, but it's just great for structural, but it's not growing very well. So, that's what we
And-
call old dead dirt.
Yeah. And also on that roundabout on 17 Barrington Ferry, you said you got a copy that's good to go now?
Yeah,
Could you send me-
I'll send you that.
Yeah, send me a copy of that.
I thought I heard you say you had to go to Atlanta to meet with the people about that.
We do it all teams.
Okay, oh, okay.
And any further update on the Peacock, the bridge on Lewis Frazier?
No, sir. I did not check on that this month. I know that they put out, by the time I got to the HAMPO meeting earlier this week, they'd already gone by that, and I didn't get to look at what the status was on it. But I will find out about the Lewis Frazier. I know they're in right-of-way acquisition, so they're in the final stages, but I'll have to check and get that for you.
Trent, with you being out there and you got connections in Atlanta, with the amount of money that we are spending, if we had to take time to apply for some grants, how much money would we save, and what would be the extended period of time?
For which road?
Any road, safety projects, improving roads, paving from dirt to pavement. I know that
Well,
there's grants out there, but we don't take the time to look for them.
Yeah, and a lot of times it really depends on the road and what the DOT commissioner would be willing to do, and the way they handle that is a little bit different than the way they used to, but you're still going to ask, is not a bad thing. So I don't know that I can answer your question with accuracy, because kind of open-ended, and it really depends on what project it is. So it depends on how big of a project it is, and, if it turns it into a state aid project, if it's a project where they're just gonna give you money, then it doesn't really change the time frame at all. If it's where you gotta go through the plan development process and do all that, you add 5 to 7 years to your project. So
But I was just looking.
it's a wide range of what you do.
I was just looking at the project, what we did at Bill Carter in '84. It didn't take, about a year,
Yeah.
2 years?
That's right.
And
And-
we did a lot of savings on that.
It was a
so-
safety
And
project.
we asked for some money on that, and they gave us the money on that. We didn't have to go through the plan development process.
Now, Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind, let me throw this in while we're at it. We met with Representative Williams the other day, and,
Monday,
Monday, and Ms. Purcell.
and Purcell.
And his statement was that he have never heard us ask for any money for Highway 84 improvements for the turnoff. So, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Brown, I would like to see a letter going to Representative Williams, because he said he never received nothing in writing from the Board of Commissioners, I'd like to see a letter going to Representative Williams requesting the assistance on Highway 84 past 196 where there's no turnoff lane.
To widen that?
Widen it, either
Okay.
put some decel lanes in the left lane, which is the fast lane where we have all the accidents at.
Okay.
Make a suggestion, because they're gonna come back, he'll send that to GDOT, GDOT will come back, want more definitive information on it. Can we sit down with Trent, because I thought about this after that meeting the other night, let's go and identify those locations. You've got some T-Splosh dollars that are marked for turn lanes. They're gonna want us to do the engineering on those and come up with the concepts before we ask. Otherwise, it's gonna get into the 6 to 9 to 10 year. They don't do much design anymore. So we need to sit down and get a good grasp on that and then send that if that's all right.
So let's let today be a starting date on it
That's
and no
fine.
further
Yes,
down the
that'd be
road.
great. That'd be great.
That's a good idea. Okay. I'll be glad to do that. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, Trent, do you know when the restriping is gonna start?
I meant to say something about that.
Okay.
And I went right past it, and I do apologize. So we've got all our plans done for the restriping. Andy is writing the roads to make sure we got everything right. And he should be wrapping that up tomorrow or Monday. So I should be ready by the end of next week to put it out for bids. Now, I was going to have them ready and then ask you to put it out for bids in the July meeting, but if you want me to, as soon as I get them ready, I'll get with Mr. Brown, and if everybody's okay, we can put it out. One thing you do need to do is DOT increased our funding on that to $209,000. They gave us about an additional $70,000.
Trent, just to back up a little bit on the Claudia Lane water, I think what we talked about the last month was locking those shut-off valves. And then, see what happens, and if there's vandalism, we'll look at burying them. But I think we just wanted to make sure that we cap them off.
Right.
It's, when you turn it off, you could lock it with a bullet or something like that. But,
Okay.
I think that would be good, and then if people go in there and chop the plastic, water running all over, we could look at burying them. But at a minimum, I think we just need to lock that to make sure that no one is going back there getting water for whatever reason, or turning
Yes,
it
sir.
on and running a hose somewhere.
I understand 100%, and I agree. As a matter of fact, I don't have anything until an executive session. I'm going to walk out and call Sean and try to take care of some of that now,
Okay,
while it's hot on my mind.
okay.
All right? That's all for me.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. We're honored to have with us our tax assessor, Ms. Glenda Roberts. Good to see you. You're back in the saddle, as they say. Yeah. Glenda, would be so kind, introduce yourself to these young people so they'll kind of have an idea of who you are and what your responsibilities are with the county. We're trying to educate them while they're here. Okay.
No, okay, thank you. Yes, sir, you too.
And I will introduce this gentleman that's passing this out to you at the end of my presentation.
Okay, all
So
right.
as he's doing that, please excuse my voice, I have to say that in advance. But I'm Glenda Roberts. I am the chief appraiser within the Liberty County Assessor's Office. I have two of my board members that are present, my chairman, Ms. Lee Steele, and a board member, Mr. Lloyd Byrd. So what our responsibility is throughout the county is we have to go out and appraise properties for the purposes of taxation. And so every piece of land in the county, every structure, whether it's an outbuilding or your main improvement of your home, stores, outbuildings, or sometimes people refer to them as sheds, marine craft, boats, aircraft that are in the county, it's our responsibility to go out and place a value on all of those things so that they can be placed on the digest, which is what all of that compiled is called, the county tax digest. And those values are then computed, and then these people here, along with the school board and some other entities, the hospital authority, they develop a millage rate. And then they take that millage rate against the 40% values that we generate And that is what yields the tax bill that you'll hear us refer to throughout. So that's just a brief overview of what my office is responsible for. And so my purpose in being here this evening is just to kind of go over a brief synopsis of where we are in this current season. So my office mailed out, and I cannot remember the exact number, I should have done that, but it was in excess of 20,000 assessment notices on the 7th of May of this year. And those assessment notices are annual notices of, to the property owners of what your annual values are. And as you all, as commissioners, and I'm sure as members of the public, you've seen an increase over the years in those property values. And we'll go over a little bit about why we have to increase. We too are property owners here in the county, so when those property values increase, they impact us as well as you all as commissioners, other entities as well. But what we did, we took the liberties today of just going over a few things to kind of show what has taken place over the last few years. In your packet, you'll see that we've given you an example of just a basic 1,500 square foot residence. And we've shown you that picture, it's the second slide there. If you move forward in that slide, what we did, because of what we have to do, the state mandates and regulates much of what we do. So one of the biggest things that the state mandates is that our property values fall within 10% of fair market value. That's 10% above fair market value or 10% below fair market value. Yes, sir. Oh, you know what? I have the presentation on PowerPoint.
Do you?
Excuse me.
I was wondering about that. I'm thinking about.
I was looking for the slide.
Now, you in such a hurry to get out of here.
I was thinking about my young people. So
There you go.
That was pretty.
Yes, sir.
That's what happens when you retire before you, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so we've got a picture of just a regular, normal 1,500 square foot family residence. And for the purposes of this exercise, we developed some rates here. We didn't consider any depreciation or anything. We didn't factor any of that in. But to show you what we've had to do over the years. So we started with tax year 2020, a 1,500 square foot house. When you see that column there, the cost per square foot.
Ms. Glenda, excuse me. Ms. Frazier, do I need to excuse the? Yes. Yeah. Okay. All right, young people, thank you so much. Now, I'm not putting you out now.
Thank you so much for having me.
But I know you're leaving, so thank you.
That Stacy don't have no overtime budget.
Thank you, Ms. Frazier.
Thank you.
Ms. Amby.
Bye-bye.
She used to be my teacher, too. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm still kind of young. So. That was like last year.
You may continue.
So for the purposes of this, what we did, and when you're seeing that column there in green, the cost per square foot. And for us, in layman's terms, what that means is, if you were to hire a contractor to build a home for you, there's a base cost that they're going to initially charge you. So in 2020, that base cost for us, for tax purposes, was around $55 a square foot. So at $55 a square foot, the fair market value of that property would yield $82,500 in value. We did what the millage rate was for that year, and just the county incorporated portion of the tax. The tax bill would have been $537.90. As you come down, 2021, it was stagnant. We stayed at $55 a square foot. 2022, we adjusted that by $10. But as you can see, just that $10 base, it increased that property value to $97,500, and it increased the taxes to $678. That same 1,500 square foot house in 2023, it dictated, and what dictates us moving that is the sales that's taking place in the county. So property sales, property values as you're seeing them, property transfers throughout the county. People that are selling their homes as you see them, you're going through neighborhoods, purchasing brand new homes. This is what drives that number. So in 2023, we were barely, well, we'll get into that, but as far as what the state mandated, it mandated that we increase that cost per square foot. We went to $85 a square foot. You see that same 1,500 square foot home, the property taxes are now $1,078. For 2024, we had to increase that base cost again. And you see what started in 2020, just for your unincorporated tax bill, that was $537 in 2020. We're now at $1,239 in 2024. And even at the $97.75 a cost per square foot, we are still struggling to catch up with what the state says. If you were to go out and interview contractors, they're somewhere around $110 to $115 a square foot to build a home from the ground up. This just kind of shows you in graph form what that 1,500 square foot home has done as far as the cost per square foot to build that home. And then the last one is to show you what the taxes on that same 1,500 square foot home has done since 2020. Now, what is not on the screen, because we ran out of time in trying to get that, but what you all have, the white pages that are at the very end there, just to show you from the state's standpoint. The state audit department comes in and they conduct an audit. It's basically my report card every year as to how we're doing with property values as it relates to the sales that are taking place in the county. So for 2020, there was only one county out of all 159 counties that fell below the state standards. When we go over to 2021, and what I mean by the state standards, your ratio has to come between 36 and 44. So for 2020, Liberty County's ratio was a 38.49. So we were doing pretty good. There was only one county that failed. Then we got to 2021. There were 11 counties out of 159 counties that failed, which meant their ratio fell below the 36%. Liberty County was still doing pretty good. Our ratio came in at a 38.08. Then we went to 2022. There were 49 counties out of 159 counties that failed the state's ratio. Liberty County barely hung on. We were at a 36.63. And at that point, I would like to show you what the average ratio of all 159 counties were. That ratio came in at a 36.83. And that was the average ratio for all 159 counties across the state, not just Liberty County. So as you can see, as time went on, across the state, across the counties in the state of Georgia, the ratios, we were getting farther and farther away, which meant property values were increasing, but what the counties were doing as far as raising values locally, we weren't keeping up with what was actually happening with sales across the state. Then we get to 2023. There were 75 counties out of 159 counties that failed the state's ratio. That's the last white sheet, the 8.5 by 11 sheet that you have. And I took the liberties of highlighting. You see Liberty County's ratio for 2023 was a 35.19, which meant we failed. 2022, we were barely hanging on. For 2023, not only us, but if you look at what the average ratio of all 159 counties was a 35.94. So what that tells us is that Liberty County's not alone. I know that as commissioners, you all hear that, as county administrator, my board members, constituents, they ask the question, why are property values continuing to increase? This is why. Property values, property sales, they're skyrocketing. This is the indication. This is our report card. So whatever our ratio is the year before, that dictates to the Board of Assessors what we, as the employees of the assessor's office, what we have to do to property values. And property values are steadily increasing. Obviously, then what that does for you all, gives you the issue, I'm trying to find the best word there, of grappling with what to do with the millage rate.
Challenge.
Because, yes, because what this also tells us is that the number of sales, our county's growing. So when we're looking at brand new sales, when we go out and my staff, we pick up a brand new property, somebody that's buying their home for the first time, and our ratio is below what they're paying for it, we're in trouble. That's what this is an indicator of. So property values, sometimes people are paying for older structures, and that's really what's getting us. The newer structures, we're there. We're not quite at 40%, but we're closer. But what's really hurting our county and counties across the state, resales of older properties. Older properties are selling sometimes just as much, or in some instances higher than new construction.
If I get one more text message about selling my house,
Yeah.
I'm moving in with my mom.
So it causes us to have to increase, because then what happens when we don't do it, the state comes in, the audit department comes in, and the audit department says, Glenda, they tell the Board of Assessors, you're not getting it. I know those are people in your county. They're people that you go to school with, you go to church with, you've got to increase the values. Because what happens when we don't, they come in, the state comes in, our sales, they take a sample of our sales. And right now, Liberty County is running probably anywhere from 3,200 to 3,500 sale transfers or property transfers a year. So they take a sampling of those sales. They don't come and they don't ask me, which properties do you want us to look at? They go in, they take a sampling of those sales, they send their auditors out to the field. I don't even know when they're in the county. They go out and they conduct appraisals on properties here in Liberty County. They place a value on where those properties should be. If I'm below that, that's what generates this ratio. And as I said, for 2023, we don't know what it's going to be for 2024, but we did what we had to do, trying to get us above the 36 number for 2024. We don't know what that ratio is going to be. But when I don't do that, when I don't get the ratio where it's supposed to be, the audit department says, and this is where it gets for you all, the audit department comes in, as this is OCGA, which is the official code of Georgia annotated. It's code section 485346. And I'll get there. I think that's on my slide there. They can withhold grant money from the counties, and they can also, number 2 down there, assess a $5 per taxable parcel of real property in the county. So for every year, and even at that point, they give us 2 years to fix whatever is out of line. They conditionally approve the digest. So for 2023, we got a conditional approval. We don't know what it's going to be for 24. But after 2 years, they don't do it often, but they always like us to know they can. They can lock a county down from collecting another year's tax until you get your property values where they need to be. So I know it sounds harsh. It's not harsh. Sometimes we get people to come in and they say, you're just picking on us. You're picking values out of the air. I promise you we're not. There's a science behind what we do, and that science is the sales that take place in Liberty County. And like I said, a county our size, running somewhere between 3,200 and 3,500 sales a year, that's impactful. Typically, one sale in a particular subdivision or a zone, our county is split up into zones. One sale is not going to affect your property value. This is a number of sales within your zones. My staff, pretty much, they can tell you most subdivisions that have caused us to do the numbers that we've done, they're in excess of 20 to 25 sales in any given subdivision. So come in, talk to my staff right now, because I said we mailed out those assessment notices. We're still in our appeal period. An appeal doesn't necessarily mean that there's something wrong with your property. You may just need to come in and sit down with my staff one-on-one to understand the process. Look at the sales that are happening in your zone, in your neighborhood. See what's causing the property values to increase. But like I said, if you do not come in, by the time you get your tax bill, there's nothing we can do. So appeal period for this year ends at the close of business on June the 27th. But on June the 27th, we are extending hours. Our office will stay open until 7 p.m. that evening for persons that perhaps work out of town or whatever. That gives you an opportunity to come in, set up that appointment. Now, can we see 300 people at one time? No, we can't. But we will certainly schedule appointments with you. We will give you your time. We will show you. The state requires that of us. We have to show you the data that dictated the change. We're open to doing that. We will sit down. We will take the time to do that for you. But please, please, please make sure that you're looking at your assessment notice. It came out on May the 7th. Appeal period ends June 27th. If you do not, then you've lost your right to appeal. That's state law. We don't have the ability to change that. The Board of Assessors don't have the ability to extend that deadline. We also have certain periods at the beginning of the year, January 1 to April 1, for a person to file a return on their property. So say, for instance, you've missed that window. You're upset, but you've missed that window. Come January 1, because remember, we mass appraise. January 1, it's about you as an individual. If there's something structurally wrong with your property that we're not going to know in mass appraising, come in and sit and talk with my staff. You can file a return, state what you feel the value of your property is. Tell us why you disagree with the value that's on your property. For every single return that is filed, my staff physically go out and relook at that property. So you have that opportunity, and then, of course, you have the appeal opportunity, where my staff sits again with you, one-on-one. If you have an appraisal on your property during the appeal period, we'll gladly sit down. If we've missed it, we're imperfect, whatever the case may be. If you've got documentation, but it can't just be lip service. There has to be something to back it up. So, like I said, one-on-one, come in, make that appointment, talk to my staff. But as a general rule for the overall picture, this is the reason why we have to continue to either go up or go down. Because if the market takes a downturn, we have to do the same. Property values will decrease. But until that happens, we have to keep up with what the current market dictates.
What's been the level of activity of the general public coming in to to
We
discuss
have
the values.
had a good number of the public come in, and I don't want to misquote, but I believe at last count, we have somewhere around 300 appeals. Because a lot of what has happened, when people come in to do that one-on-one, and they're able to look at the data, they're fine with their value. They understand it. Because 99% of the time, you're gonna hear a lot of people say, I wouldn't sell my property for that. That's your return. When you come in January 1, that's basically what you're telling us. Would you accept what we have your property valued at for taxing purposes? If the answer is no, then there's really not a reason for you to appeal it.
I think I'm remembering some time ago, the reappraisal, you would do residential one time, then you would do commercial, then you do agricultural. That's still,
It is. So what has happened to us, so last year, what really caused us to fall below our mark was our agricultural properties. And the reason for that is residential, for the most part, we were on it because of the sales. But you have a lot of properties now that are agricultural properties that are transitioning to residential properties. So it's a matter of my staff and myself keeping up with those transitioning properties. So what I mean by transitioning properties, you may have a property that has been, say, a 25-acre tract. It's been farmland, it's done nothing but grow trees, it's been standing there for the last 50 years. Well, now developers are coming in. Developers are looking at you. Developers want your property. So that developer may come in and he may say, I want to pay you X amount of dollars for your property. We may have that property on, and I'm just using broad numbers here. We may currently have that property on at $7,500 an acre, but you just sold it to that developer for $100,000 an acre. I have to make an adjustment to that property, because if I don't, because now that property is no longer grandma's property that's just growing trees that's been sitting there for 50 years. Known developer. When someone comes in that's a known developer, and even if we don't know it's a known developer, you look at that sales price. That's not going to be or continue to be farmland. That's going to be a residential transitioning property. So we're forced to go in and look at how we're valuing that property. Where we're falling in that is because some of those properties, we didn't increase enough. So that caused our ratio to fall out of line. And what did it for 2023 was our agricultural properties.
I'm hearing, I heard, I'm never one like to say I'm getting, I heard from one commercial owner about their property values, and the thought was that if we keep escalating those, then it's going to be detrimental to business development, commercial development in Liberty County. But if I hear you correctly, it's not just a Liberty County thing,
No, sir. And all you have to do is right up and down 84. Commercial properties are selling. Commercial properties are dictating what we have to do with the properties. And commercial properties are generally valued by the front foot. They're not valued by acreage. And if you've got frontage on Highway 84, you've got a prime piece of property. And we have to value it accordingly.
We're sober now. We're sober now. But thank you, Ms. Roberts, for sharing. Let's see. And I have directed folk to come to your office and sit down.
Certainly.
And I think Commissioner Thrift has,
I have had.
she's been there herself. So I still recommend that people go see you. Now, tell me this, June though, what's the cutoff date?
June 27th. And our hours, we will stay open until 7 p.m. that evening for persons to come in and file an appeal
Okay.
if they so desire.
Yeah.
And even if they don't file an appeal, they simply want to set up an appointment, file that appeal just to get it in there,
Okay.
but we will still set up an appointment to meet with you individually.
Okay, so if you're booked on June 27th, you'll take my name and number, whatever, and you'll work with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay.
We will do it.
Okay.
Yes,
okay,
sir.
Okay, okay.
She did such a good job explaining that. I'll make sure we hit one point, because her example shows this. Even though the state requires them to go up on property values, and in some cases, some of the examples she gave, those examples from one year to the next might be 13% increase on property value. I know one thing they have done heavily, and you've encouraged, is to sign up for the homestead
Correct.
lock or homestead freeze that Liberty County has that's pretty unique. There's a few other counties in the state of Georgia. Reason I bring that up is just because your property value goes up 13%, if you are signed up for the homestead freeze, it will not increase beyond 3% in any one given year beyond that, and could be less, as a matter of fact.
Right.
So just want to make sure, 'cause what we've been hearing too is, with all these increases in property value, you should have a windfall of money, when in fact, our encouragement of those people to sign up for that freeze, you're seeing those exemptions grow.
They
So it's
grow.
not a one-for-one trade-off.
Right.
That a 13% increase in value results in 13% net
No.
revenue increase. So I just want to, and
Right.
you may want to, you've done a
And-
great job.
Right, we have a large number of exemptions, and the KDW exemption is an excellent exemption because it phrased, as Mr. Brown just said, that excess of an increase in your fair market value. And the only time that exemption comes off, once you sign up for it and qualify for it, it only comes off if you sell the property or if there is an ownership change, in which we try to tell people, be very careful. Sometimes mom and dad wants to give it to their son. Now, if they've reserved a life estate in that property, that exemption stays. But if you just deed it over without reserving a life estate or a joint tenancy, that exemption is going to come off. And so sometimes people get surprised by that, and unfortunately, I can't return it for that year. So then what happens, all of the savings that you've experienced up until that point, you lose it, because now you have to start over it wherever the value currently is.
Talk about the growing exemptions, if you will, for us, while you have the audience.
So the basic requirement for a homestead exemption, there's the basic exemption, which pretty much, if you are a resident of the state of Georgia, Liberty County is your legal state of residence or county of residence, and you own the home as of 1 January. Come and apply for the basic exemption. You also qualify for the KDW exemption. Then there's exemptions for the elderly. There's one at 62. That's a $15,000 exemption. I hope I'm saying that correctly, with no income requirements. Then there's another one at age 65, which is the school tax exemption, that there are income requirements for that one, but at age 65, you can come in and qualify for that one, make application for it. And along with that one, there's the solid waste exemption, where the household income, first of all, you have to be 65, and the household income cannot exceed $25,000 for the solid waste exemption. So there are exemptions out there. There's help that's available.
Talk about the disabled vets, if you will.
The disabled veterans exemption, that one is also a very good exemption. You have to have a letter stating that you are a 100% total and permanent disabled veteran, and it has to be service-connected disability, but that letter is verified from the Veterans Administration. And then if you are not rated at 100%, but you are paid at the 100% level as deemed by the Veterans Administration, you're also eligible for that exemption. And that one, pretty much, because that one increases annually, and I don't know the number, but it's pretty good. So that one, for the most part, it wipes out your taxes. In the event that your value exceeds that number, you pay taxes on the difference of whatever that number is.
Right.
I think it's 250.
And the disabled veterans exemption, you can apply year-round. There's no deadline for that one. All of the other exemptions, in order for you to be a recipient of it for that tax year, it has to be by April 1. So for this year, for 2024, any of the other exemptions, it's too late to apply for those. But for the disabled veterans exemption, you're still eligible to come in and apply for that one if you meet the requirements.
But even for the other exemptions, you may have missed the April deadline this
Right.
year, but come on
We
in.
will accept the applications
yeah.
year-round.
Yeah.
But if you come in now, it will apply to 2025.
Right.
Correct.
I didn't want them to not,
Right, no, so don't think that you can't, we accept the applications year-round, so every day, any day you can come in. But in order for it to apply to that current tax year, it has to be by April 1st.
okay, all right.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I know. First of all, Ms. Roberts, thank you for everything you've explaining all this, and then also for your years of service with the county.
How many?
35.
35. Great job, great job. Just on the way out, just answer a few questions.
Certainly.
Just like how you were explaining about the percentage, and I know we've discussed this in previous years as well, even before we even got here. And I see what you're talking about, you know, from going from 11 to 49 to 75. Is that one of the reasons? Is it? I'm thinking it's because of the amount of influx of sales in the state of Georgia.
Correct.
Because I know for a fact, you know, a lot of people are coming to Georgia because, yes, to us, the sales look high, but whenever you coming from California or somewhere else, they could sell that house, buy 2 houses here, and have one investment house to help offset that. I've seen that even when I used to be an appraiser. Yes, Commissioner Walden, I used to do that as well. But
Wait a minute, let me write it.
but and another question, and I know. Well, I don't think you kind of talked about the comps and all of that. And just the difference, can you explain to people, because I know you kind of briefly discussed about mass appraisals compared to fee appraisals,
Yes.
the difference?
So mass appraising is pretty much for tax purposes.
Right.
And you're going to look at the sales in, like I said, the 3,500 sales a year. You're looking at those, and so those 3,500 sales are affecting countywide. Whereas a fee appraisal is generally someone that's trying to get a loan because they're selling their house or they're refinancing or whatever. So you're honing in just on your particular property, and I believe typically you have 3 comps that go with that so that you can kind of see what your value is doing. But there's a huge difference from fee appraising to mass appraising, because like I said, the outcome is 2 different things, what you're trying to get to.
Accomplish, right,
Yes.
right. So even with the mass appraisal standpoint, I guess you still have to pull the comps
We
in some
do.
type of capacity, correct?
Correct.
So, but when you're doing that, is it still like a mile radius, or you all could go farther out or in?
So typically, and that's a good question. So
Be appraiser.
agriculturally, fortunately, residentially, we really don't have to go outside of the county because it's here. Even commercially, right now, agriculturally, up until a few years ago, we had to go outside of the county in some instances.
Because it wasn't any comps for
Right.
agriculture, but since now they're switching over from agriculture to residential,
We've got the comps. And when we're doing that, state law says we can go back 24 months. So typically 2 years worth of sales to look at that. But we're not even having to go back that far because the sales are there.
They're here. Right. Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And I'm brainstorming while you're here, and thank you again for coming in. Certainly, like Commissioner Frazier, thank you for your service. I know this is just one song kind of sort of, yes.
Yes, it is.
So when people say, I'm just going to move next door,
To another county?
yeah,
They're
because
saying the
of
same
tax,
thing.
yeah.
Being that you said that, I can just kind of go back. Some of our neighboring counties,
Oh, I look.
yeah, we're in the same. Chatham County's ratio for 2023 was a 35.91. They failed. Long County, they failed. They were a 34.03. Let's see, Bullock County, where are they? They just inside, they were 36.03. So, I mean, most counties surrounding us, they're facing the same issues that we are.
All right. Now, I believe in being compliant. That's what we teach our children.
Yes, sir.
I was looking at the penalties, if you will,
Yes, sir.
for not being the ratio, the $5 per taxable, and you said 20,000, 20, so, 20,
So 20, we're currently just over 27,000, well, I
Okay.
say just over,
So-
just say 27,000
That's
parcels.
about 30, okay.
But you're looking at the number of taxable.
Uh-huh.
So that, I don't even have the number. I should have looked at that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, somewhere in that neighborhood, that,
Yeah, but where I'm headed is what approximate penalty would that be for Liberty County if we,
I didn't run the calculation.
A lot. That's in my 21 Savage.
yeah, I hear that. Yeah,
Right.
so the road mileage grants, so no LMIG.
Yeah, it was about 135,000.
Okay, okay. Okay, now, next question.
Okay.
Since it's not just a Liberty County issue, when you're in your circles of other chief appraisers, everybody has to be talking the same thing.
Correct.
So what's, under the gold dome, what's the conversation?
So,
To
under
address
the
this.
Gold Dome, what has been a plus for us, prior to this past year, the ratios, the audit department, this was it. That's what they said. This year, in our legislative session back in May, what they have put in place, the audit department can come in and they're going to conduct their ratio study. But we also conduct in-house ratios before we ever submit the digest. And always, our ratios are in line. We're there. So going forward, we've been told, I don't know how that's going to work out. If in-house, we can show that our ratios were above failing when we submitted the digest, as long as the county commissioners, the school board, and the Board of Assessors collectively look at those numbers and agree that we were above failing, they will take our ratio. That's what we've been told. How that's actually going to work, I do not know, because that's never been done before. You can appeal it, but show your documentation. Again, they're going to look at the data to make sure that your chief appraiser is not just saying, oh, well, we were in compliance. They want to see the proof. Because we're required to run in-house studies to make sure before we submit it, are we in line? And if we can show that, from what I'm understanding, they will accept the appeal from those three entities.
So as I think about this, we were really getting out of kilter before the whole Hyundai plant, all that
Correct,
boom town conversation started to happen.
correct.
So that's just going, what's the word, exacerbate?
It will. It will. Because what happens, you're tasked with not wanting to hit property owners with
Yeah.
a 40 or 50% increase in a year.
Yeah.
I mean, so you gradually try to get there, but sometimes the gradual doesn't work.
Yeah, yeah. So something has to be done. I mean, I think most communities look forward to growth. It's just the economic diversity part of it, the economic development part of it. But when it comes to the tune, I mean, I agree with, a lady from the Isle of Wight sat down with me 2 weeks ago and explained to me her scenario. In fact, she gave your office great accolades for working with her, great accolades for working with her. Appreciate that. But she explained very well how they moved to Liberty County to retire, bought some nice property, you know, but she came just in time when we had to do our escalating. So she says she may have to rethink, you know, their lifestyle in the next few years if the tax values continue, you know, to escalate, which I understood what she was saying. But now that you explain it, it's just par for the course right now.
Correct.
Yeah, it's par for the course right now. Yeah, and someone higher than us has to make some decisions.
They do.
That's going to affect this because you're held to abiding by the state rules and regulations. Yeah, you know that. Okay. It's catch-22. Now, are you seeing the commercial growth? I know residential, I think we see all of it, but can you give me a feel for commercial versus residential?
Commercial is experiencing the same thing.
Same thing? Okay.
But on the commercial side of things, I'm sorry, my
all right.
voice just kind of comes
You
and
good.
goes. On the commercial side of things, we're keeping up
Keeping up?
a little better.
A little better? Okay.
Simply because, again, with the sales and because they are commercial.
Okay.
Residential is a little harder to make those jumps.
Yeah. 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 All right.
This may not be, just for clarification,
Okay.
on your board members, are all of your board members certified now?
Currently, they are all certified. The newest board member, she's going to school the first week in July, and she will be certified.
So what happens if you don't have a full quorum of board members that are certified?
I can't have a board meeting.
So that's bad for the county, or bad for the board, which one?
Yes, sir.
So that means you can't take any action.
No, sir. They can't even hold a meeting. If I don't have enough qualified board members, because if there's voting actions that they have to take, they can't do it.
And how long is the course for them to be certified?
A week. It's a week.
One other question. I know it was in your budget, but anyway, I'm just gonna ask it. With that piece of equipment that you may not get, or you may have enough money left over to get it, if you don't, what does that do to the tax assessor's office or to the county?
You're referring to the software.
Software.
So the software, we were working with Clint, Mr. Stanley. That software prevents us from being, well, the major part is our mobile assessor that we're paying for, which allows the field appraisers to go out to the field. And live data is fed back in, but it basically shuts down the GIS portion of what we're able to do in our office, which we rely on heavily.
But then that would hinder.
Oh, well, we wouldn't, mobile assessor would no longer, they wouldn't function.
Are you going to introduce?
I am, that's what I was gonna ask, if there were any other questions before I did
Like I
that.
say, we're sober now, so
Okay.
go on with your presentation.
So what I'd like to do, as all of you know, I am retiring, July 1. This is my replacement. This is Mr. Keith Payne.
How you doing?
He is currently the chief appraiser in McIntosh County.
Oh.
So he will be coming here, and I'll just briefly go through. This is Mr. Commissioner Marion Stevens. Commissioner, you gonna go around and shake?
No, I'm messing with you. I'm messing with
Commissioner Marion Stevens,
pleasure.
Commissioner Justin Frazier, Commissioner Connie Thrift, Chairman Donald
Good to meet you,
Lovett,
sir.
Commissioner Maxie Jones the fourth,
Oh, she got
Gary
it.
Giller, and Commissioner Eddie Walden. And these two gentlemen, this is the Assistant County Administrator, Mr. Joseph Mosley, and County Administrator, Mr. Joey Brown. Joseph, I'm so used to calling him Joey,
That's what we call it, yeah.
but yes, sir, he will be my replacement effective July 1.
You gonna say hello to us, sir?
Hello,
Well,
A little bit about yourself.
my name is Keith Payne, originally from Atlanta, Georgia. Worked for DeKalb County for about 8 years.
Okay.
Wanted to go up in the industry, so I came to McIntosh. Been there 9 years, and now ready for a new challenge. So Glenda's been wonderful in my transition, and be glad to sit down. My open door policy, that's how I look at it. Here for the citizens. I love coaching, like kids. That's the gist of it. I guess as we go over time, you'll learn a little bit more about me.
Feel like you do a good job in McIntosh County from what I'm.
It wasn't easy. I did appeal the audit. They changed the overall audit, but they didn't change the numbers as far as the individual, which is your residential ag. She said her ag was out of line. So we passed for the processes for the railroad to be able, for the schools to be able to get that portion, but they failed them on the other end. So this has been a fight. It's Department of Audits versus Department of Revenue, two different styles of assessing. We're taught one way, and then the Department of Audits is doing it in a different way. And they've just started. It didn't really apply until the sales jumped in the past 3 years. It didn't really matter because we were matching what the market was, but nobody could equate to what the market was going to do in the past 3 years. It's jumped.
Ask a question
Yes, sir.
while you're there. Glenda, you were, I'm sorry I called you Glenda. but,
That's fine, that's my name, that's fine.
You're talking about the assessment on boats. I thought I saw something in the news where a dollar amount boat under, up to like, what is it?
20,000,
20,000, they're not taxing them anymore.
effective January 1, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly.
Right.
That will go into effect. So any property owner who has a boat that is $20,000 or less, value-wise, they will be exempt from taxation. We still have to pick it up. We still have to get what's on the DNR. We get a listing annually, but $20,000 or less comes off.
And that's coming from 7,500.
Right, exactly. Currently, that exemption number is 7,500. It's jumping to 20,000.
I just asked that because I know in McIntosh County, y'all probably have as many
Yeah,
boats as you do
our
cars.
personal property digest is going to take probably a 50% hit.
Wow.
Well, you just a
Well,
little bit further
that's,
down the
that's
road
them, not
from,
us. You're over here now. There you go.
Yeah.
Don't go over there.
Glenda, while you're here, my only thought, Commissioners, is, this is, once again, just thank you so much for sharing this information. It's very, we needed that. We'll need that, Mr. Payne, every so often. But I'm just wondering, how can we better inform our public on what we just heard? Now, we have a pretty good following by live stream, so that's pretty good. But I'm just wondering, how can we educate? Ms. Daisy Jones is here. She may invite you to a radio show if you hadn't already been. But we need to take advantage of every avenue we can to educate the public on how to, because we get to be the bad guys. We get the bad guys. Y'all's are raising my taxes every year, and we just really trying to stay.
Exactly.
Yeah. Follow the state guidelines, really. So.
Certainly, Board of Assessors, we're open to doing that.
Yeah, we all have to be ambassadors. We all have to be ambassadors. So whatever we can do. I'm almost seeing her taking directing here now, these slides and being recorded, and then we can play it.
I was gonna talk to Michael on those. Actually, we may can just do a clip out of this meeting.
Okay.
And pop that up on presentation on
Okay.
tax overview. So
Hey, Mr. Donahue over there, this front page news? Yeah. Yeah, front page, yeah. And I know the current's here too, and yeah, please help us out with that, yeah. Because, I've learned that you can never blame public for what they don't know. And I wouldn't know nearly as much if I were not a commissioner.
And that's true. The average person, if we didn't work in it, I would be clueless.
Yeah.
But because we do work in it, and so that's what I try to instill in the staff.
Yeah.
When you're talking to people, when you're talking to these taxpayers, they're upset when they come in because they don't understand a lot of what we do. We do this every day. So we allow them their time to vent, but then we give them that opportunity to have that one-on-one sit-down session with us and show them why we do what we do. And if they're
we
able
have to learn
see
to
it.
talk to them in general terms.
Right.
We
don't want to get above their head.
We have a list of acronyms, so we have to learn how to, I don't want to say dumb it down, but put it in a context where they can understand it. I have some videos that I've made over years, some maybe you can add to your website. It's a how-to about the different steps that we do, so hopefully we can work together on that.
All of the above, sir, all of the above. Commissioners, we each have to be ambassadors ourselves and try to educate, we may need some cheat sheets, index cards, whatever it takes. But once again, thank you so much for breaking it down to us. It's been very, very, very useful. Mr. Payne, good to meet you, sir.
Thank you, nice to meet you.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you all.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Thank you, Board of Assessors. Well, good to see you all. Thank you for coming. Sir. All right.
All right.
Proposal for Liberty County Health Department. SPLOST dollars.
partially ARPA, partially SWASH,
Well,
right?
yeah.
You're exactly right.
Yeah,
So,
makes sense.
I gave you a memo there that kind of outlines it. I won't read it to you. We had 4 proposals on the project. We scored those. Pope Construction scored the highest, and the committee then recommended award to Pope Construction a total cost of $15,746.4 plus a 3% contingency. We had a 13% MWBE participation goal. Pope's goal, or Pope's guaranteed participation was well above that at 21%. So they are qualified to perform the work, and that would be our recommendation. I will tell you that, subject to your approval, we've gone ahead and talked to bond underwriters. As you're aware, the project will be bonded. We'll be there is money in Splosh 7. It's already been allocated to make those bond payments that were anticipated ahead of time, and we're working with them so that those fit hand in glove with hopefully what your purpose is here.
Mr. Brown, what's the time built on this project?
441 days, I believe, if I remember.
Mr. Chairman, I wanted to ask a question. This number, is it gonna be just brick and mortar, or are we looking at parking lot,
All inclusive,
everything?
total job.
Lighting?
Total job, lighting is not in here because we'll work that separate deal with power provider on doing the lighting, which will probably be on a monthly basis with all provisions like we do so they can maintain the lighting for us. But it is everything else, yes, sir, including generator and an allowance for furniture and fixtures, even though some of those are gonna be, the equipment's gonna be bought really by the health department. But this is generator and everything.
But the part we were talking about in the back, that'll all be included in this bid?
You know,
or-
we'll probably end up doing a little bit of modification in the back for bringing those just with Clinton and his forces.
Right.
But I do think we've got enough allowance in the job to be able to build back the little brick wall we gotta build back and do the fencing.
Okay.
Well, I know, I mean, I've seen their work, and I understand they're conscious of where they're gonna be at there in a neighborhood, so, you know, there's gonna be noise coming from one side of Layton Street there that we probably don't wanna hear, so we need to make sure that we do everything we can to beat that down.
And the project, I mean, won't belabor the point, the project does include per city guidelines, some buffer area. We'll leave that natural buffer area between there and Layton on the residential side, and then we'll also be putting up a privacy fence that's required also on that side, so.
Well, it's gonna be in my district, and I'll welcome it, fact, in that back portion back there, I know I contributed some money to, let's see, I think I put some in at Miller Park, that maybe I can get Commissioner Stevens to help me with, we will get ready to do that.
We'll take it under consideration.
That means no.
No.
Well, it sounded to me like a no.
Mr. Holden from Buckley and Associates is here if you have any questions on the architectural side too for that.
Is he here?
He hiding
Hello,
over there.
sir. How
Yeah,
are
he's
you?
here. See him today.
Y'all got taxes?
Good evening,
Hello,
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. I'll be glad to answer any questions you have. I was actually really happy with the way this turned out because, and, you know, as volatile as everything's been over the past, you know, few years, this is probably one of the first ones that came in on the budget that we actually set in a very long time. So I think we budgeted like 350, it came in like 354, which is a foot, which is good for now.
Well, I thank y'all for taking the opportunity and the time to sit down with those ladies and gentlemen down there at the health department and listening to their needs and their wants and.
I thought I wore them out, but they
They stayed on it,
They
didn't
did.
they?
They were in several hour meetings,
Yes,
several of them. So
and I appreciate that.
they were very, very good to work with. So I hope we got everything in there they needed.
I believe we do, from what they've told me.
Glad to hear that, you know, that.
Yes, sir. They
The,
sure did.
We want a building that's gonna serve us for several years. Joey, did we pencil in some growing space?
I believe there is some growing space in there. I mean, they got
Yes.
sufficient.
Extra.
Yes, we do. When we sat down with the staff there, we made sure that, you know, if they, you know, we would try not to go, there's always that fine line where you want to try to not overdo it, but you want to make sure you got enough growth for, you know, buildings like this. We want to try to anticipate, you know, anywhere from 40 years of growth. But, you know, we don't know for sure what's going to happen with the base, what's going to happen, you know. We just try to do the best we can and be responsible with it. But there is absolutely growth built into this building.
Good. Thank you.
They are excited.
Mr. Chair, I just have two questions.
I'm sorry.
Well, obviously, Ms. Brown probably know what one of them is, but I'm just looking at the, right. Well, no.
Go ahead, confirmation.
Well, I'm just looking at a difference in the proposals and the scoring. And I know we've done work with Pope Construction in the past before, and I know they've done a good job, but I'm just looking at some of the other ones, and they're pretty low. And
Yeah, and David can, since I've got an old mind, David can help me here. We had two pretty close proposers. You remember, even though it's rated on several factors, price is a heavy consideration
Right.
in there. So the Pope and Dabs weren't that far off.
Yeah, very
on cost.
close, actually.
The
Okay.
next two were 2 million more.
it was
Way.
majority cost.
They were.
Right,
That's
okay.
right, they were.
All right, and since we talk about money, next question, the NWB
Yes, sir, like I said.
participation?
Yes, sir, like I said, we had a 13% goal, Pope came in at 21%.
All right, well, I just want to make sure.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. 'Cause, and also, I think I asked in the past about like our previous projects and our NWB participation. I just want to see the numbers of how much the money.
We were
Yes,
supposed
sir,
to-
and Mr. Mosley has reached out.
We're gonna
to,
program her.
Mrs. Spada, and
Okay.
she's putting together something so she can come actually meet with the board.
Great. Because it's a lot of money we putting out. Just want to make sure that we get.
Commissioner Smith,
It's
I'll
all
give you the
inclusive.
honor. I'm sorry.
Yes, sir,
I'm
I
sorry,
can't
my
wait.
You done, sir?
I'm done.
I'm sorry.
Right.
20 years and, Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion to approve the construction of the new Liberty County Health Department to Pope Construction.
Is there some motion?
$15,746,400 plus 3% contingency. If I got all the commas right.
Yeah.
I do? Okay.
Just, and let's just say it again for the general public, there's,
FOST and ARPA funds,
and some money donated by,
Liberty County Health Department.
there you go.
For the
So,
furnishing.
3 partners, yeah.
Yes, sir, 3 partners.
Any further discussion? All in favor, show of hands,
To be built on Highway 84.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Holton.
Thank y'all very much.
Look forward to working with you.
Hopefully, one of these days, I'll be able to make a motion on that family entertainment center.
You will.
Hey, it took me 20 years.
Hey,
20.
Hey, it's been taking me 12. I've been up here pretty long.
Well, just keep on paying attention.
Thank you, Mr. Holton.
Thank y'all.
Look forward to
When we
that.
gonna break ground? Excuse me. When
We
we
have to-
gonna break ground?
So we'll do, you know.
Is he the man? And I'll go visit.
We're gonna put him on the spot, but yes, sir, yes, ma'am.
He wears a hard hat.
We'll, obviously, after, just like anything, we do official notice of award, 30 days to get contract documents together. We'll go ahead and have to do some land clearing at that site to get ready for a groundbreaking. So then, you know, we'll work that in the next few
And for the
months.
general public, it's at the red light by Zaxby's.
It is,
Layton Street.
yes, ma'am, probably the best way to say it is next door to the National Guard Armory.
Armory. Yes, sir, for the public. Okay, thank you. All
gentlemen.
right. I'll be waiting on that.
Yes, you will. Miss Daisy Jones is here. How are you? Thank you for being patient.
Thank you so much. It's my privilege to be here. Chairman Lovett and the commissioners, and of course, the administrative team. I'm glad to be here, and I thank you for time on the agenda. I've not met Commissioner Jones, but it's my pleasure to meet you, sir. I'm Daisy Jones from the Liberty County Reentry Coalition, the SOAR Reentry Center. I have not stood before you since 2016.
Wow.
And so I wanted to come and especially thank you for your support over the years. My first time was 2015 when we were going around the county talking about GAPRI and the reentry program. You all have been great supporters of the work that we're doing. So I wanted to come and briefly update you and show my appreciation. Here with me is one of our board members, Mr. Jeffrey Porter Jr. is one of our board of directors members. Also, our program assistant, Tamara Williams. And Giovanni is our brilliant Liberty County High School senior, upcoming senior. He's volunteering
Oh, really?
for the summer.
Well, good for you.
Very brilliant and
you.
a very great contribution to us. And so as we proceed, Michael, telling me what to do.
You're doing so well, Daisy.
Yeah, so just quickly, you all know that our mission is to promote improved public safety and to reduce recidivism, and that by empowering formerly incarcerated justice-involved people. That is our clear mission. That's what we work to do. Public safety is a primary work that we're doing. You also know that in 2012, that State Representative Al Williams, along with Sheriff Sykes at the time, D.A. Durden, and the late Charles Frazier, they were pivotal to starting the Liberty County Reentry Coalition. They incorporated. And in 2014 is when we started working on a reentry program. What we have now is the SOAR Reentry Center. We focus on 14 key areas that are very important to meet the needs of people who are formerly incarcerated. Our priorities being first day out services, because many times people come to us, they don't even have underwear. They don't have personal care items, and sometimes they are homeless. Sometimes they do not have vital documents or even information as to where to start. So our goal in life is to help them create a pathway to success and to avoid future crimes. Some of our programs you see there, we work with them intensely, supporting them with peer mentorship, peer support, mentors to walk alongside them, build relationships and a trusted relationship to help them to feel like they can do it. They can do it. All right. I'll drive it for you. Oh, yeah, drive it. Next slide, please. So where have we been? What have we accomplished and where we're headed? I wanted to show you some photos of some real people. You may recognize some on this slide. Just to let you know, in 2014, we had a fantastic grand opening and support from you and many others in our community. Citizens, law enforcement showed up to support the work and to kick off this SOAR Reentry Center. Next slide. So these are some photos of some of the events that we have, because we're working with real people. We're working with real people who have real issues and real lives to get back on track. You see some photos here. The left photo is of a staffing agency that came in to meet with some of our program participants to let them know about jobs and do some on-site hiring. You'll also see that the other four are classes that we've held. One was at Baconton Church, one at the library, where we showed a movie to our participants about culinary skills and how a gentleman in Michigan started a restaurant. He was formerly incarcerated. He started a restaurant and hired formerly incarcerated people. The picture on the right is when Commissioner Gillard came and did a class for one of our, it was a graduation. After 6 weeks of meeting every Friday, he came and he was our speaker. Great supporter. Thank you for that.
Yeah, and I just want to say that young man with the certificate,
Yes.
we hired him
Yes.
shortly after that, and he's still there.
And he's still there.
Still, yeah, doing a
Yes.
great job. One of our
Success story.
sanitation truck drivers.
Yes.
Doing a great job.
And we were recognizing him for participating in every week of the program, and we recommend him to go apply, and he was hired. So we're grateful for that. Next slide. So you all remember, I'm just taking us down memory lane a little bit, right? 2016, when we opened, we also got a visit from the Department of Community Supervision Assistant Chief. They all came down and discovered that down here in Liberty County, we mean business. You all remember we used to meet in this very place. They came down and they recognized the work that was being done in Liberty County and made us one of 17 pilot sites under Governor Deal's Georgia PRI program. We were the only rural program, the only rural county to be a part of the pilot sites for the GAPRI. And these are the picture on the left is some of the participants who were on our computers. We have computers Wi-Fi enabled at the center where they can apply for jobs, birth certificate, resumes, a number of things that they need to do. And then the right side is we had a Fish Fry Friday last Friday evening where peers, it was a men's event where men gathered at the barbershop hosted by Jazzy's Barbershop. We provided the fish and such, but it was there where they could gather and talk, exchange ideas, encourage each other. And so Fish Fry Fridays is an initiative to really help our participants, male this time, to really encourage them where they talk with each other and help each other with life lessons, tips, exchange information. It was great. I wasn't there, but I heard about it. And in a moment, you're going to hear from one of our participants with a brief sharing about his experiences. Next slide. This is just another photo of some of the participants that have come through our program. Next slide. We're a community-based adult reentry program. We get donations from many citizens, clothing, personal care items, backpacks, snacks. And so 2 of our volunteers were going through and organizing them. We get donations from organizations, agencies. So we're just so blessed to have community support. 2 interns, we get interns every year. We have at least 1 intern. We are a field site for the University of Kentucky, Albany State University, Adler University, and University of Kentucky. Okay, well, I forgot what it is, but we're a field site. So we give real-world experience to interns. We collaborate with a number of agencies and partners in the community for healthcare, education, you name it. We're looking to collaborate and we're looking to partner. Diversity Health Center, Premier Counseling Center, Recovery Place. So we're always looking to partner so we can better serve our participants and where we can exchange information. We have clothing, we have personal care items, we have shoes, we have underwear, because we want to be able to provide those essential items to our clients. Next slide. This slide just lets you know that our partnership with DCS, with Parole and probation officers is very key to what we're doing, because our parole and probation officers, they're the ones who have a lot of people on their caseloads for supervision. They make a lot of referrals to our office, and at that time I was doing a ride-along so I could find out what does it feel like to be with a parole probation officer out in the field doing their work. So we appreciate them. The last photo on the right is DCS Public Information Officer Andrew Hauser. He came from Atlanta. He, along with James Butler, who is the Senior Community Coordinator for DCS Reentry Services, they paid us a visit in April during Second Chance Month, and it was just great to have the support, the collaboration with the DCS. Next slide. We have a golf tournament every year.
Oh, yeah.
We had our 8th annual golf tournament, Swing for Reentry. We have it every April. And this is just one stream of income, revenue. We don't just live off of donations, but we have multiple streams of income. And the golf tournament is one of the major events that we have. You may recognize, does this have a?
It does.
Scott, right here. Right here, Scott, from the tax assessor's office. And then
We don't know him.
Mayor Brown has played with us a few years. And this is,
Oh, Tracy Howard?
right,
Yeah.
the new chief. So we are so grateful for the support that we get. And I must say that one of our annual sponsor for our reentry program is ESG, annual corporate sponsor, every year supporting the work that we're doing, along with multiple other business sponsors. I should have brought a logo, but it's on our website. We appreciate that work. Next slide. So by the numbers for 2023, our revenue, as you can see, is we're making progress. We're making progress. But I do want to point out that in 2014 to date, we've served 682 program participants. Our trend is up this year. We've already served about 72 participants. Pre-pandemic, we were serving about 100 people a year. During the pandemic, 2020, it was like 37 people. We closed, but we were working virtually and coming in by appointment only, observing COVID protocols, safety protocols. But we're seeing a trend up this year. We've invested about more than $67,000 in shelter housing support. What does that mean? That means that sometimes when we have literally homeless clients coming in, only formerly incarcerated, we only serve formerly incarcerated. Coming in literally homeless, we will get a motel voucher for them. A motel voucher just to keep them off the street while we're working with them for more temporary housing or stable housing. Our housing support also includes rental assistance. We're helping our participants locate affordable housing, and we come behind them with a deposit and first month's rent. So the money that we raise and the revenue that comes to us, our priority is shelter, housing support, vital document recovery. That's where we spend our money. Substance abuse assessments, mental health evaluations when we cannot get pro bono services or free services in those areas. I'm the grant writer. We have received $272,833 in grant money. We don't get any funding from the state of Georgia. Our grant money has come from local organizations. Reform Alliance is a national organization. We've gotten $20,000 from them in the last 2 years. We've gotten local funding from the city of Hinesville, from Riceboro, from the city of Flemington. Slide, please. But here's the big thing. When you think about the fact that we're at 205 East Court Street, we moved in 2016. We have an in-kind support from you all, meaning that you said if you take care of it, if you improve it, you make impact, you can use it. So we're so grateful for that. We have made a number of improvements in that building. If you walked into that building, you would think, wow, wow. Because our presentation represents this county. Our presentation also sets the atmosphere for excellence, and it sets the atmosphere for that we are expecting you to make a change. Also, we know that it's internal. So last year, you replaced the roof of the building because you probably saw the pictures where it was rotten all the way around. Raccoons were climbing up there. But you replaced the building. Then you came back this year, I think, and replaced the HVAC system. So I want you to know that we are grateful. This maintenance team that is under the leadership of Mr. David, Mr. David, he is exceptional. They care. They will come and check. They will come and ask, do we need any help? If I text him, they're coming in to support the work. So I just had to come and say, I've been planning to come before now, but I've been wanting to just come and let you know how much we appreciate the work that you have been doing. And you know me. You know personally that I am very grateful to you. You know that we are very committed to this work. And as long as there is a need for us to help returning citizens become tax-paying citizens who buy property and who support the SPLOS, that we're going to keep doing that. So we're grateful for that. And I want to ask Mr. Porter to come up, and he'll just give you, I told him I would pull his coattail if he goes over 2 minutes, and we will be out of your way. So Mr. Porter, he was at the fish fry meetup on Friday evening.
Yes, ma'am.
And I just want you to share, Mr. James Porter.
My name is James Porter. I came to Georgia in 2013 and out of prison, a lot of years in prison, and I got in some problems here, and I'm under Miss Casey over there. And I'm a volunteer in that program. I'm not mandated. I go because I want to live. I've been a bad drug addict most of my life. I've done 26 years in prison. I went when I was just 13 years old, but God is good. I change, anybody can. Miss Casey over there gave me the tools to get clean with. It's beautiful. You know, the system is beautiful. It is. If you want it, you can get it. I'm 59 years old and I shouldn't be alive standing here talking. And I am. Miss Casey granted us to go to this fish fry, and I met these gentlemen, and I'm a positive man, and I love God, and I want change, and I've got it, and I hang on to it, white-knuckled. And I went to this program, and one of her, I can't remember his name, Mr. Morris? Mr. Morris asked me if I would be willing to come and see her and talk to her and be a mentor for people coming out of prison. I stayed 26 years in prison. I wasn't institutionalized. I worked for myself. You know, I struggle every day of my life, but I don't do dope, and I believe in God. You know, and now they've invited me to be a mentor over there for people who are coming out of prison, and I'm going to take it and run with it. It's another blessing from God to show me that I'm doing the right thing.
Thank you. And so we'll end with that. I'll send you have a copy of the slides, so we have some goals. We just bought a van, so we're going to be doing employment shuttles to the Midway industrial area and to Riceboro, where those livable wage jobs are. We got a blessing that fell into our hands, 4,900 miles on it, and 2016 from the guest house. So one of the employees knew about it, reached out to us. The board got together, purchased this van for $14,000. So this is a dream come true for us, that we're going to do the van shuttles. We're working on transitional housing, that we can offer housing to our participants who come in who are homeless. So we'll take the motel voucher money that we have been investing and use that for a transitional house. That's in the works, but that's one of our goals. I am training in the Georgia Homeless Management Information System. Why is that important? That's a database for the homeless in the state of Georgia, and we want to make sure that the numbers are in the database for this county. We're working on getting a full-time case manager. We will continue as a field site for interns, because that's important for them to have real-world experience. And we are going to recruit additional peer mentors, because that's impactful for changing the lives of people. And that ends my presentation. I could have gone on and had more photos, because as I looked at the photos, Commissioner Gillett, I remember that I came in here, I was 20 pounds lighter, and my hair was black when I first started this. But I'm grateful to God to just be alive and to be able to contribute to the work that's being done in Liberty County. I know your heart, and I know that you love people and that you love this community, and so I'm glad to be a part of it. So subject to your questions, that ends my presentation.
I just want to say thank you for the job that you're doing for those who need help. And just remember, always look up for help.
Amen. Yes.
Daisy,
Amen.
Daisy.
you remember this?
Yes. I have it in my office.
You do? Yeah.
The artist Micah, we have those originals in our office. So when he turns 19 and he starts making millions of dollars, I'll have some art to make money from. So thank you all so much. Blessings on each one of you all. Thank you.
Thank you for everything.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was a great investment. Great investment. Great investment. Authorization to purchase right-of-way on Wells Cemetery Road. Commissioner Thrift, this is your night.
I know, it's been a long time coming.
Yes,
Both
sir.
of these have.
As you're aware, improvements to Wells Cemetery Road have been on the board for a long time, and there were a couple of pieces of property that have, let's just say, presented a little bit of a challenge in trying to get the right-of-way for. This is the final piece, actually a very small piece, 0.28 acres on Wells Cemetery Road, and if it's okay with the board, tonight would ask for your authorization to purchase that property from the property owner for $2,800.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we authorize to purchase the right-of-way for Wells Cemetery Road.
Second that.
Motion is second. We approve the amount of $2,800 to purchase that right-of-way. We've been talking about it for a while. Glad it's coming to fruition. Any further discussion? All in favor, show of hands, please. Resolution, Liberty County Public Safety Communications Advisory Committee.
Yes, sir. And Commissioner Stevens actually, I think, mentioned this a couple of meetings ago when we were in here, something that had been, needed to be cleaned up. So what you have before you tonight is just the part really of the 911 Advisory Board that has an effect for the commissioners, or for the commissioners to affect. The 911 Advisory Board had been functioning since the 911 Center was stood up back in 1992, I believe it was. And it has its own set of operational bylaws and has regular meetings. So this is the makeup of the board, this proposed. I'll tell you the changes is there used to be two citizens, one from the incorporated, one from the unincorporated area that were on the board. There was also a representative for Fort Stewart on the board. Through the years, these have been the main players in the board, and that's the recommendation coming from myself, Commissioner Stevens, and Erica, who really did the yeoman's work to make these recommendations to you.
Chair, entertain a motion to approve the.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we approve the resolution amending the 911 Advisory Board as presented.
Okay, is there a second? Motion and second, we approve the resolution amending 911 Advisory Board as presented. Any further discussion? All in favor? Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, just a quick
Go
question.
ahead.
So none of the other municipalities really participate?
No, sir.
Questions?
Okay, all right, so good. All in favor, show your hands, please. All right.
Okay.
All right.
Is that all for the good of the order for the?
Yes, sir. As you see, the only other thing left is discussion of real estate purchase.
I just want to make sure you didn't have an administrative report before we, okay? All right.
Mr. Chair, before you go, I know we didn't do it, to Commissioner Frazier, we're sorry for the loss of your family. with you. And also, we have two elderly citizens from Liberty County who has passed on. Reverend Ollie Howard, that stays right across from the store from the dollar store at McIntosh. And on yesterday afternoon, one of my grand aunt passed away, Aunt Mamie Stevens Clay. She would have been 103 this year also.
Retired educator from Liberty County. Taught at the historic Liberty County High School.
Thank you so much, and just remember, whenever you're driving, just pay attention to motorcycles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Our hearts and prayers to the respective families. Chair, entertain a motion to go into executive session to discuss real estate. Second?
Second.
All in favor? We're now in executive session. Good, all right. Chair, entertain a motion to come out of executive session, back in the regular session. I heard a motion and.
Second.
Oh, okay, second, all right. All in favor? Nothing to report. Chair, entertain a motion to adjourn. Second? Yeah, all in favor? All right, thank you.